Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried & Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. As always, thank you for tuning in. You guys are fantastic. Your support means the world to me. I know I say this every single time. You're probably sick of hearing me say that, but truly we wouldn't be where we're at without your support. So I want you to know I love you, and I'm grateful for you believing in me. I want to thank our sponsors, Wasatch Recovery, Siegfried & Jensen, Thread Wallets. You guys are amazing. The music you listen to at the very beginning of this and the music you'll hear at the end is by my good friend Paul Cardall. He's an award-winning pianist. He's got 25 million active listeners every month, and he's allowed me to use this music, and he's one of my heroes. So thank you to Paul Cardall. And we just have this great setup, and more importantly, it's the amazing people that I bring on every week. And you guys know that. It's not about me. It's about these amazing people, and today's going to be no different. Today we are joined by Mandi Durocher.
Yes.
Hopefully I said that close. Yes. Thank you for being here, by the way.
You're so welcome.
We've been trying to do this for a minute now, right?
I know. But actually, I think the timing is perfect because I'm actually coming up on my 7 years of sobriety.
Congratulations.
On March 12th, so.
Congrats.
Yeah.
And knowing what you've been through, and listeners, you're in for, buckle up. But for what you've been through and to be able to say that now, how cool is that?
Oh my gosh, I never thought.
Never thought that would even be possible, right?
No.
So I've met you through Dave, your husband, who is the managing operating director at the Other Side Academy. We've had Dave on a few times, and a lot of people know Dave, but now we get to know his better half, the better part of Dave. Sorry, Dave, but that's the truth.
They call me the softer side.
Yeah, the softer side, yeah. So, no, I think the world of both of you guys. I hope you guys know that. You guys, both of you are just amazing people who are, not only trying to do good things, but just the way you carry yourself, very confident. We all have our struggles, as we all know. But from what you've been through, like we said, to have you here to be able to share that today is going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, there's a lot I could read. Your bio is amazing, but I want our listeners just to hear it from you because of, just it comes across so much better, obviously. So why don't we start? You were born in California, and why don't we just start there? Where, tell us about your family. Tell us about how you were as a little kid.
Okay, so I was born in California, but I have only one memory in California because we moved from there when I was 2 years old.
Oh, okay.
So
really young. Yeah.
Yes. We moved from California to Park City.
Okay.
When I was 2. And we lived in Park City from 1978 to 1986.
Okay.
And that was a really special place to grow up.
Yeah, Park City's beautiful. Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. We lived there on the golf course. And my parents built their dream home, and we lived next door to Mrs. Fields from Mrs. Fields Cookies.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun little fact.
Yeah.
But my very young years were very privileged, and I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah, because it's all you knew.
Yeah, that's all I knew. But looking back, very privileged. It was a really special place to grow up. If you were a child in elementary or junior high or high school there in Park City, you got seasons passes to ski every single year for
I didn't know
$98. That. Yeah, unlimited seasons passes. And so 3 of my brothers worked at the resort. And, it just kind of was our way of life. And I could run around on the golf course and play with my friends and drive the golf carts and ride the free buses everywhere and ride my bikes, all over town. And it was kind of just this very free life as a little girl.
For sure.
Yeah.
So do you have siblings?
I do. I have, I'm the youngest of 5.
Okay.
And I have a sister. There's 14 and a half years between us.
and
then 3 boys between us.
Okay.
So but
yeah.
I'm far behind. They call me the bonus baby. And
right.
so I was that one that happened when they didn't think that could happen anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So
wow. Yeah, Park City is a beautiful place, and I can imagine. Yeah, again, you're a kid, you don't know any different, but yeah, looking back, you probably go, man, I had it good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really
a lot of
did.
good things going on. Well, even though things were good, I know at a very young age you started having some struggles, and I think it even started as early as 10 years old.
It did.
So why don't we just start from there and just kind of tell us what was going on and what you were experiencing, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Well, I would say that it probably started, my parents started having financial problems when I was probably about 7 or 8, and we lost our home, the one in Park City. And and we moved a couple of different places temporarily and whatever. And then my dad's job transferred us to Arizona. And all of my siblings were pretty much grown at this point.
Yeah.
And they all stayed here in Utah and went on with their lives, and Mom and Dad and I went to Arizona. And
wow, that had to have been tough.
I don't think that I had really ever even been out of Utah at that point.
Yeah.
I don't have any memories of like going on family trips or anything like that to going out of Utah. And so the first time that I went out of Utah was moving to this place called Mesa, Arizona. You know?
Right.
And when we moved there, it was very lonely and very isolating.
Yeah.
I really struggled to make friends.
Yeah.
And with my parents going through financial problems, we didn't really have the money at that time for me to kind of keep up with all of the trends in clothing and things like that.
Yeah.
And so even though my young years were very privileged, you know, past about the age of 10, it was really difficult for many years.
Yeah, things changed quickly, it sounds like.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. I come from a really strong LDS family.
Okay.
And we moved into an apartment complex that was part of a very wealthy ward. And that was kind of a difficult dynamic, you know, because I was the poor girl in the rich world, rich ward, if you will.
Dang.
So anyway, I struggled to make friends. I gained a fair amount of weight around that time, and really started to struggle with depression and feelings of worthiness, and like even asking my mom things like, you know, how can you love me? Why do you love me?
Man.
You know, and feeling unworthy of that, you know.
Well, you know, it's hard enough to move when you're younger, I think, just again because you leave your friends and stuff, but your siblings even stayed back.
Yes, they did.
So I can see why you would feel like alone, like even more so, because you don't even have, you know, your siblings to hang out with or do stuff with, even though they were a little older than you.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that played a role as well.
I'm sure it did. I'm absolutely sure it did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the other thing is you went from one extreme to the next. You know, all this privileged stuff. Park City, you know, the place is amazing. Not that Arizona isn't, but a different financial situation.
Absolutely.
And now all of a sudden, even as a young kid, you noticed it.
Yeah, very much so.
So you felt depressed and that kind of thing. Did you know what you were dealing with? Did you tell anyone at that time, or is it
probably mostly just my mom? I think that I probably didn't understand that I was depressed. But you know, like I said, I would say to my mom that I didn't understand why she loved me and what was there to love about me, and I had crooked teeth and I was gaining weight, and, you know, and they would make comments about those kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
And so I felt very embarrassed and unworthy. And so yeah, that was a rough time. But then as time went on, I did start to make friends. I did start to kind of find my way there, and I did quite well in junior high, and made the cheerleading squad for ninth grade, which was really fun.
Yeah, right.
It was fun until it wasn't.
Right.
And I say that because that was kind of the start of my eating disorder.
Okay.
So around the age of 14, I fell into anorexia. And, well, I don't know that I fell into it, but I became very determined to lose weight and be a flyer on the cheer squad instead of a base.
Oh, okay.
And I became very obsessive about that. And my whole world became started being revolved around what I would eat and what I wouldn't eat, and
Gotcha.
and all of that. And
Did you notice that because I know it's pretty common, I hate to say that, it just is with girls growing up that they want to do those things. Did you know other of your maybe friends and other people on the cheer team that were doing what you were doing, or did you kind of not know any of that, just doing it?
I was very alone in that.
Okay.
I was on a cheer squad that was full of girls that were very, very experienced dancers. And so their whole lives were about dancing and fitness, and they were all very, they hadn't really struggled with the weight problem that I had struggled with. And when I say weight problem, I gained like maybe 20 or 30 pounds in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But I was going through puberty too.
Sure, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was all part of that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I was, by today's standards, by no means was I overweight, but when I became determined to lose weight, I was about 130 pounds, and in 5 months, I dropped down to about 84 pounds.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And
so
at that point, I couldn't really even cheer anymore, which is what I had done it for.
And so I'm assuming
sickly.
Your friends and family and even coaches were probably noticing something's really, going wrong here.
Yeah, very much so.
So did anyone approach you? Did you say something about it to anyone at this point, or?
Well, because I was on cheer and that was very noticeable to the school, the school did start having people come in and talk to the girls about eating disorders and things like that. And that was really embarrassing to me because I felt like all the eyes were on me. Everybody knew.
Wow.
I used to send, instead of going home in my carpool, I would send my backpack home in my carpool and walk the 2 or 3 miles home for that extra exercise every day.
Really?
And
wow.
yeah, so I was very obsessive about it, and I can remember people that I didn't know very well that would stop me on my walk home, and they'd be like, "Hey, Madeline," I'd say, "Yeah," and they'd go, "Are you like anorexic or something?" And I just wanted to crawl under a rock.
Yeah, like how do you even respond to that at that age, right? What do you even say?
Yeah.
So now you're knowing that people are noticing you, which makes it even worse.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, because at that point I really just wanted to disappear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine.
But that was my first experience with addiction, was my eating disorder.
Sure.
And come to find out many years later that that's really common for people with eating disorders to then transition into drug use and alcohol abuse and things like that.
Yeah, and didn't that anorexia lead to like a hospitalization or things like that? Talk about that.
So I was hospitalized for 118 days in Tucson.
Tells you how serious it was.
Yeah. At first I was being tube fed. So it was, that bad. To where they had to insert a tube that went up my nose and down my throat into my stomach, and they would pump highly nutritious fluids into me.
Get the calories
because
in there.
My body had gotten to the point where regular food didn't sit well with me anymore. And
wow.
Yeah, so that was quite the experience. I really fought that the whole way. I learned, that's really where I learned to manipulate and be really sneaky and stuff too. I don't feel like I had ever been a manipulator or a sneaky little kid before that. And I learned to be through my eating disorder.
Yeah. Which are behaviors of someone that feels some shame about what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Which again, unfortunately you were going through that. So here you are at 10 feeling some depression. It leads to anorexia to where you're hospitalized. So as you get past that, at least to the hospitalization, I know that's when you were introduced to some other things. And so kind of just take us to that transition.
I would say probably around the age of between 16 and 17. I had really lost the bulk of my friends through my eating disorder. They all kind of thought I was weird. They didn't really know how to approach me anymore. I didn't have the same personality, and I wasn't fun like I had been before. And so when I got into high school and started kind of making some new friends, the kids that invited me to be a part of their circle were kids that smoked pot and drank and partied and,
Yeah.
you know, but they were all the Mormon kids that were kind of the Jack Mormon kids. And I thought to myself, well, they're really daring and they're really like, you know, they're not goody two-shoes. And I didn't want to be known as this. Oddly enough, I didn't want to be known as this goody two-shoes little Mormon anorexic girl. Like, you know, I wanted to be fun again. I wanted to fit in somewhere.
For sure. And at that age, it's so critical that we all want to fit in. We want to be accepted. That's a big thing for us when we're that age.
Yeah, very much so. So I would say that that my junior year in high school was probably when I started smoking pot and drinking alcohol, and everybody thought I was really fun at the parties, and you know, and I started to become really rebellious, and fast forward my senior year, I was introduced to methamphetamines for the first time.
Man.
And of course, it was appealing to me at the time, the whole not wanting to eat factor.
Right.
And so that was probably the biggest drive in me choosing to try it. And I also noticed that when I used drugs, when I drank or used drugs, my eating disorder was no longer part of my thought process.
Yeah.
I didn't worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, you go to any other, like, get together of, like, kids that are not acting out.
Yeah.
And everything's revolved around food and party and whatever.
Right.
But when you party with people that are in the party crowd, it's all around drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, there's no food out.
Right. Where are the refreshments?
Yeah, there's no appetizers. Here's our appetizers.
Yeah.
And it's usually we're just getting high.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't have people noticing whether I was eating or not eating.
Gotcha.
You know,
so probably some form of a relief.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I actually feel somewhat comfortable here.
I really actually did.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm just thinking about my own childhood. I can so relate with just, again, feeling comfortable, how much that means. And if I feel comfortable, even though maybe I'm going down maybe the wrong road, we don't think of it that way at the time.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So at this point, does your family know, I guess your mom and dad know that you're doing any of this? You're struggling in that area?
They definitely saw a shift in my behavior and in my attitude, and in I had always been very much a pleaser before, and all of a sudden I was being rebellious and, you know, arguing with them and talking back and not coming home when I'm supposed to, and you know.
Yep. So they're seeing a shift in the way you're treating them now, and like you said, you're rebelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably in the way that I looked too, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I would come home high, I would come home drunk or hungover or whatever, and, you know, or they'd get called by the cops.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, you know, meth is like, I mean, you hear a lot of times from clients, and even Dave will say, it's like the devil, meaning it takes you down this road that you can't even imagine what you're going to get yourself into because of this.
Yeah.
Did you find that happening, or?
You know, I dropped out of high school like 4 months before I was supposed to graduate because I got in trouble for going out and partying, not coming home, whatever. And so I decided to run away and move in and stay with a drug dealer and his girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And really, a really fast change in events, you know? And so I just never went back to school. I did soon after get my GED, but I was only snorting meth at that point in time. And I didn't love the way that snorting it made me feel. It wasn't until like a year or two later when because I did stop for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Because I got pregnant. And so I stopped and I got pregnant and I had my first child when I was 19. But when she was about a year and a half old, I had been sober at that point for about 2 years.
Okay.
Maybe a little over 2 years. And
was it the pregnancy that kind of made you go, you know what, I got to do something different here?
As a matter of fact, I thought that she was going to save my life.
Oh, wow.
You know, this is my whole reason to turn around.
Sure.
This is, you know, God sent me this baby.
Yeah.
And through my eating disorder, you know, a lot of the time that can actually change your ability to have kids. So I thought, okay, God has sent me this baby, and it's going to help me change my life. And now I have a new focus, and now, I'm good. I'm going to be good from here on out. But when she was about 2, I had found myself back into kind of the drinking crowd and this and that, and I was introduced for the first time to smoking meth.
Oh man!
And that was a whole new ball game for me.
Right.
That was a whole other level.
Yep.
And so that became a problem for quite a while.
Yeah. Wow, man! in such a short period of time, and many people listen to this can relate because always fascinates me how quickly we can, like, I guess, quote unquote, blow up our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It happens really fast.
It happens so fast. This is a little different, but kind of relating, like trust can be broken in an instant, and then to build it back up, right?
Takes so long.
Takes forever.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, and it's just, and again, it's unfortunate it's that way, but obviously you were hurting on so many levels. And, so were you scared at all though when you were pregnant? I mean, you're still a kid yourself.
I was still a kid, yeah.
I mean, were you like going, even though it felt like, hey, this is an answer, God's given me a chance.
Yeah.
Were there parts of you or thoughts of thinking, how am I going to do this? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know that I was scared. I think I was excited about it.
Okay.
And again, I thought that this was going to give me a purpose.
Yeah.
And, that only lasts for so long as the baby's an infant and needs you constantly. But as they get a little bit older and they're a little more self-reliant and they can do things and they go and stay the night at grandma and grandpa's or, all of that, it changes a little bit again. And I found myself having this freedom, and freedom wasn't good for me.
Yeah.
I found bad things to do with any free time that I had.
So at this point, are you still living with the drug dealer and his girlfriend?
No, that was a short-lived thing.
That was just short. Okay.
That was a short-lived thing.
Okay.
A couple of months maybe, and so I moved back home with my parents while I was pregnant. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little discombobulated.
No, you're good. No. This is more. I'm just trying to figure out if that was still going on or. Yeah, no, you're doing great.
No, my parents were very, very loving and very supportive, and let me move back home, and that's where I carried out my pregnancy and had my daughter, and we lived with my parents until she was about 1.5 years old.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then eventually, if I'm not mistaken, you get married.
Yes, I got pregnant again.
Yes.
Okay. And I married the guy who taught me how to smoke meth.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So talk about that. I guess at the time you thought, okay, this is maybe the best thing or the right thing to do, but.
Well, again, this was another relationship this was the second relationship I was getting into that was born out of using drugs together.
Yeah.
And
so it's already starting off toxic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that most people that are listening and most of us that have lived this lifestyle have been in relationships multiple times throughout our lives that were born out of using together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your initial connection is using together.
Right.
And
wow. So how did that go?
Well, unbelievably, we were actually together for 17 years. We were married for 20, but
long
together
time.
For 17 years. Yeah. But throughout that 17 years that we were together, we probably went in and out of addiction together at least 4 different times, where we would use together for anywhere between 1 year or 2 straight, all day, every day together, and then something would happen and we'd decide, oh, we're going to get clean.
Yeah.
And we would straighten up and we would go back to church.
Yeah.
And, that to me for a long time in my life, I always equated getting clean with going back to church and straightening up my life. Like I kind of thought that was the only way to do it. And that was the only way to prove to my mom and dad that I was doing well, was if I went back to church and was active in the church.
Sure.
I wasn't really aware of all of the programs out there and of a recovery community, that could be a good support to me.
For sure. Well, there's obviously some deep psychological things going on, some mental health things, all that stuff. which again, connecting with a religion or have a connection with a higher power
Right.
is really important.
Right.
I mean, we both know that on
Right.
some level, it's really good, but it doesn't give every answer to maybe the things that you were struggling with specifically, right? Because again, you had a long list of things that were going on. So you're in this marriage, you guys are using a ton. I would imagine things blew up, meaning you probably started doing more drugs, and talk about how that opened up another factor in all this.
Meth was our biggest problem in the beginning, and in the first few years. But then in 2003, when I got, end of 2002, when I got pregnant with our third child, that was the last time that I used meth for 11 years.
Oh, wow.
So I just always told myself, well, I can use other things as long as it's not meth. I'm good.
I hear that one often.
As long as I don't go back to meth, I'm still okay.
Right.
So I did stay completely sober for about 5 years at that point.
Okay.
And I was, active in the church. I'm doing these quotation marks with my fingers, active in the church, and thought, if I just make it to the temple, and for somebody that grew up in the church, they're gonna understand this. But if I just make it through the temple and make my family a forever family,
that's the answer.
That's the answer, and I'll no longer be tempted by these other things in life, and I'll just know with assurance that what I'm doing is right, and blah blah blah. But that's not how it happened for me. So anyway, I stayed sober off of everything for about 5 years. Then I slowly started integrating. So my ex husband was a drummer in a band.
Oh, okay.
And that's not what he did for a living, but he did it every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Usually for most of our life, he would play gigs on the weekends.
Okay.
And so that always put us in environments where, we were in bars and we were at parties and we were at all these places. So I was only going to stay sober for so long when we keep putting ourselves in those environments.
Yeah, for sure.
And so about 5 years in, I started drinking again. And that was around when I found pain pills. So I kind of discovered those by accident through having an oral surgery, and then having my gallbladder removed, and then having a couple of other cysts removed in a very short window of time, where I was on pain pills multiple times over a several month period.
Yeah.
But I knew right away, as soon as I tried the pain pills, the first time, this could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it way too much.
Yeah.
I liked it way too much. I was already thinking the first few pills in, how am I going to get more? I need to call my doctor and tell him I'm going to need more.
Yeah.
But I felt like Supermom when I was on pain pills. I could do anything and everything. And,
that's the scary thing about it. We hear this story a lot, right? Where it's like, where has this been all my life? I feel like I can do things now. And that's the scary part. And although that's true in those moments, but it's actually this big lie.
Absolutely.
Because what that ends up leading up to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I became a functioning addict on these pain pills for a number of years. I would say 5 years I was a functioning addict.
Man.
Taking a reasonable amount. When I say reasonable, it's because it became unreasonable later.
Yeah, right.
And that's when I was still orally taking the pills. When I transitioned to snorting the pills, and they were no longer, 5s or 10s or 15s, they were 30 milligram Percocets, and I was snorting them, snorting 10 to 15 of them a day. And drinking alcohol with it. It was no longer manageable.
Yeah, things are now out of control.
I was not a functioning addict at this point.
No longer functioning, right? Wow. So, and you're still married to your ex at this point?
Yes.
Okay,
and
so this is still going on.
Because of our previous behavior of using together, we took on using the pills together as well. Because for whatever reason, using drugs together was a bonding thing for us. And then we just kind of supported each other in our bad habits, and we couldn't judge each other.
Yeah.
Because we're both doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you going to say?
Yeah. And again, I totally get what you're saying, but think about how sad that is on the level, like anyone listening to this, where we get to that point where it's normal for the couple to snort some opiates.
Yes. I know.
I mean, that becomes the norm. And again, it's a very common story. And again, I get why people get to that point.
Yeah.
But when we're sitting here, when you think of you look back on that, you're going,
unhealthy.
wow, how did you get there?
Yeah. I didn't hold him to a very high standard, and he didn't hold me to a very high standard.
Yeah.
And, we got comfortable in our addictions together.
Yeah. Dang. So what led to you, because I know eventually, if I'm not mistaken, you found yourself going to treatment.
I did.
So how did that happen? And then, take us to that point.
Okay. So in 2013, the wheels fell off with my marriage and our family. We were no longer paying our bills. We were just buying pills. We were probably going through, I don't know, between $1,000 and $2,000 worth of pills a week. Because at that point they had kind of pulled back on prescriptions, whereas before we were able to buy other people's entire prescriptions of like 180 pills at a time, and whatever. But at this point they're cracking down on doctors that are prescribing large amounts. And so pills are becoming harder and harder to get, and you can't get them for a good deal. You're paying $30 a pill.
Yeah, it's really pricey.
Exactly. And so my husband lost his job that he'd had for about 15 years, and we cashed out his 401k.
Oh, man.
And we went through his entire 401k of like $35,000 in like 2.5 months.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then the money was gone. The drugs were gone. We hated each other.
Yeah. And
we're not being functioning people at all. We're not being parents. We're not being, our kids are still living at home, but we're being totally neglectful. Now, we never abused our kids. Our kids never went without, food and a nice home to live in. Like all from the outside, it didn't look like that. Right. But our kids were definitely being neglected because we were totally caught up with our own addictions.
Yeah.
And at that point, we started fighting like crazy. Like it became like something out of a movie, because we'd never been really ones to fight before that. Yeah. And then it became physical. Wow. We were physically fighting each other. We were, the cops were getting called every other day. And,
oh my gosh.
So our family fell apart. I immediately moved in with another guy that was a friend of ours that I was using with as well. My kids went to grandma and grandpa's. Now, when I moved in with the other guy, it was going to be a temporary thing. I was going to get my shit together. Right. Yeah. Again, I'm putting my fingers up in quotation marks. But I was going to get my shit together. Like the kids go to grandma and grandpa's. My oldest daughter went to live with friends, and I was basically like, give me a couple weeks, give me 30 days to get it together, and I'll come back for the kids. Yeah. Well, the next 4 years. I just spiraled downhill, and so did Brandon. Brandon had gotten back on meth at that point. And when I moved in with this other guy and pills were hard to come by, I was then introduced to heroin. And I had never seen heroin before. I was 37 years old. I'd never even seen it. Yeah. So, of course, that whole mentality of like, well, at least it's not blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Back when I was doing pills, I was thinking to myself, well, at least I'm not doing heroin. Yeah. And now I'm doing heroin and meth. I started, once you're doing heroin, what does the meth matter anymore? Right. I had already ruined, my family and our lives and all that kind of stuff. So I spent the next 3 years kind of living in lots of different places, living in motel rooms, some nights having nowhere to stay and so sleeping in the park and things like that, and kind of dragging around our little suitcases and whatever from place to place. And I had lost my driver's license at this point, and my car had been repossessed. So my mode of transportation was either a bicycle, which I would inevitably pawn and, lose, or rollerblades. So that was how this 37-year-old woman was getting around everywhere. It was
It's just so
rollerblading and
shocking because,
bicycling.
like, you know, if people could see you right now, they're like, this is the woman who's going
Yeah.
through all this. Like, it doesn't fit, but
I
it just
know.
shows how horrible
Yeah.
addiction is.
Yeah.
How horrible. Like, can you imagine saying, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to get around on rollerblades and I'm going to live in the park.
Yeah. No, I can remember seeing people
Gosh.
out on the street, you know, before that. And I would literally say out loud, how do people let it get to that point? Like, how do you let that happen? How do you lose everything?
Right.
How do you leave your family? Like, I always told myself I would never let myself get to that point.
Yeah.
I would never let myself get to that point.
Right.
Well, one choice after the next, I found myself at that point.
At that point.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the first year of using heroin, I just smoked it. Again, you know, I'm
smoked
just
it.
smoking it. So,
Hear that
you
a
know,
lot too.
I'm still above
Yes.
all of those that,
above the
that
needle
inject
users.
it.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years of using, I was injecting. And I was probably injecting anywhere from 1 gram to 3 grams a day.
Jeez.
And I was on methadone at that point. So I went to the methadone clinic thinking that this was going to help me get off of heroin,
you would think.
right? And I
Yeah.
can remember crying the day I went in there because I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to give up heroin yet. And they said, oh, honey, we don't expect you to stop right away. We actually expect you to keep using for a while. And I thought,
You're like, what?
that's permission.
Yeah. Yeah. You
That's
take that
permission.
as permission. Thanks for the permission.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I thought, oh, they don't expect me to stop right away. But I thought that the longer I was on the methadone, the less I would want the heroin. But now I'm just becoming dually addicted
Yeah.
to the methadone, the heroin, benzos, whatever you've got for me, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
And it just, again, kept spiraling down and down. But yes, to go way back to your question about eventually getting help, I just wanted to kind of give you a story of the background of the last few years that really was where I hit rock bottom.
For sure. No, I'm glad you shared that part because I want our listeners to know that's how bad things had gotten.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
again, I'm trying to picture you doing that.
It was a nightmare.
I can't even imagine.
Okay, so get this. During one of my benzo-induced, I don't know, I mean, I was on everything at this point,
Right.
the heroin, the methadone, benzos, whatever. I went into a blackout for 3 days. I shaved my head.
Really?
I came to 3 days later, not, I'd been functioning this whole time, but had no memory of anything.
But it's all blocked out.
It's all blocked out, and I had shaved my head during that time. I mean, I was such a mess. Wow. You wouldn't even recognize if you saw pictures of me from.
Wow. Do you have a picture of those?
You know what? I don't. So everything from that period of time in my life and before got lost because I lost everything I'd ever.
Yeah.
We had owned homes together. We had actually owned one home for 10 years. And accumulated lots of nice things that we'd worked for while we were doing really well and all that kind of stuff. Well, all that stuff went into storage when we fell apart, and then we didn't pay our storage bill, so everything.
So it gets to auction eventually, and people just...
so everything from that period of time in our life, any of the cameras that had digital cameras that had family photos or anything like that, our computer that had all of our family photos, everything from before that time is gone.
Wow. So you shave, you're there you are, your head's shaven, you blacked out. Mm-hmm. How do you get out of that? Mm-hmm. What happened?
Well, at that point, I really wanted to die, and I was really mad that I wasn't dying. I kind of kept thinking with every shot that I was doing, maybe this will be it.
Maybe this will be the one.
Maybe this will be it, yeah. And there was a part of me that actually was so distorted mentally that I thought that I was actually dead and in hell and nobody would tell me already.
Whoa.
This is why I'm not dying.
Yeah.
Because I'm already dead and in hell. This is my hell. This is my hell.
Oh, this gave me chills.
Right? So I didn't have any spark of hope or anything like that. And I really just wanted to have some hope.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even envision a future without drugs. First of all, if I got clean, I wasn't going to get my family back.
Right.
I wasn't going to get my family back. It wasn't going to go back to how it had been years before.
Right.
Even when it was good, during those good times of years before. I wasn't going to get any of that back. So what am I getting sober for?
Ooh.
That's
a scary place to be.
Yeah. Right.
That is hell.
Yeah. It really was. It really was being separated from all the ones that you love And yeah.
And I hear this a lot too with a lot of my clients where they'll say, it was so bad that I would get mad that I didn't die.
Oh yeah.
They wake up from whatever that, whatever they did and
Mm-hmm.
whatever they put in their body, and they're upset. Like, why am I not dying?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
That paints a picture there. Wow.
Yeah. I don't share this really ever, but there was a point where I did want to die so badly that that I would tie an electrical cord around my neck when I was shooting up, so that if the shot didn't kill me, I would maybe hang myself or asphyxiate myself. Yeah.
Man.
So, yeah, that's not something I like to share.
No, and
but I wanted out of that. I really wanted out of that.
Yeah. No, thank you. I know that's hard to talk about those things, but I think it's important because it's painting a picture of how low things got for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and anyone listening to this who has a loved one who's struggling, you know, can relate, obviously, or if they've gone through that themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why it's all the more amazing where you're at today, even. To be honest, it's like it's a miracle.
Yeah,
it's
I look
truly
back at that
a
and
miracle.
I think that was a nightmare. And was that really even me? Like, it didn't feel like me at the time.
Yeah.
It didn't, I thought, like, I can't believe this is my life.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is my life.
Yeah.
Because even through all of the other troubles and things like that, really, especially when I talk to other people in, at TOSA or whatever, and I find out about what their lives were like growing up, I think to myself, holy cow, I had a really good life compared to a lot of these people. Like, they have a lot of reasons and excuses as to how maybe they, turned out how they did because they come from parents like that and everything.
Yeah.
I don't have those kinds of excuses.
Yeah.
And I really, comparatively, had a really good life.
Yeah.
A lot of my problems, or all of my problems, were inside my own head.
Wow. Yeah, I'll often say to my clients, you don't have a drug or a drinking problem. You have a thinking problem.
Mm-hmm. I very much so had a thinking problem.
Yeah.
And I had a victim mentality, and I
Yeah.
had a blaming mentality, and I could, I very much so, I didn't know how to take accountability for anything.
For anything.
No.
Well, then, so how did you find yourself, you're the lowest of lows. What happened then, and how did you move on from that?
I was kind of half-heartedly trying to get myself, I was trying to get a grant to get into one of those kind of a Passages Malibu kind of kind of places.
I want massages. And I want to drink smoothies.
That's exactly how I pictured it, you know?
That would be nice.
I was trying to get a grant to get into one of those programs, and it was in California, and it was so I was working with this guy that was supposedly going to try and apply for these grants for me to get into this place, and there was going to be yoga, and there was going to be horseback riding, and there was going to be not only that, they were going to hook me up to some IVs for like 3 days and basically put me out so that I didn't feel the withdrawals, so that they could kind of like clean out my system and I could sleep through the withdrawals. I mean, that sounded amazing to me.
Yeah, how good's that? Yeah. I don't have to suffer through all that?
Yeah,
Great.
I know. So that was pretty much what I was looking for. Now in hindsight, I'm so glad that's not how it worked out for me. Well, of course, that didn't work out. And so my parents called one night, and here I am living in this motel. I'd been living in a weekly motel at that point for about 15 months. Yeah. And my parents called, and they said, pack your stuff. Neen is going to come and pick you up. Neen was my ex-mother-in-law. So my former husband's mom.
Gotcha. Okay.
And she's the one that had my 2 younger kids for the last several years. And my mom said, Neen's going to come and get you at noon tomorrow, and she's going to take you and put you on a flight to come here to Salt Lake City. We found a program to put you in. And so,
And were you willing, or were you fighting that? Were you?
Oh, well, I was willing, but only if my mom would also give me enough money to get enough drugs to make me willing to get on the plane.
Oh, man. So
there was kind of a manipulation factor in that as well. Yeah. So
you do this for me, I'll do that for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So she sent some money to my daughter, and my oldest daughter at the time was like 19 or 20. And she brought me the money and took me to get my last big dose of drugs that I needed, and that would get me through the night and on to, be high enough to get onto the plane and make it here. And
wow.
Yeah. So I came to Salt Lake City in March I would say March 10th of 2016. And little did I know then that my parents were not going to even let me know where they lived. So they moved during this time from Arizona to Utah. They said that, your addiction is going to put us in an early grave. Ooh. We cannot be around you. We're not going to, so they had moved during this time. But they would not let me know where they lived. They would not let me come to their house. Nothing.
Dang.
So, yeah.
Good for them.
I know, right? That was the first time ever that they really set boundaries.
That's a big boundary.
Like that.
Yeah.
And it was, in hindsight, it was imperative for me. Yeah. Because at the time, I just thought they were being mean.
Yeah. And any parent listening to this who has a struggling child, those boundaries are critical, even though you're probably thinking, well, that's mean.
Yeah.
Why I can't even come see you. You won't even let me. But man, what a tough boundary. But yet, like you said, I love that you point out that was the best thing you needed at the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they took me straight from the airport to the VOA, Volunteers of America Detox.
Oh boy.
And I actually made them stop on our way there so that I could finish
whatever you had. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they took me there. That very, very few memories of them actually, doing the intake there and all that kind of stuff. And I was very awful and rebellious for the next few days.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I was dragging my mattress from the bunk room into the bathroom where I could turn out the light. Anyway, needless to say, I ended up getting kicked out of the VOA.
And that's hard to do, by the way, folks. That's not easy to get kicked out of the VOA.
Yeah. But that, again, was a huge wake-up call for me of like, wait a minute, you don't have to just accept my behavior.
Yeah.
You don't, yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have to let me be here. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
And that was imperative for me as far as knowing and my parents still wouldn't take me to their house when I got kicked out of the VOA. Luckily, I had a sister that let me come and stay in her basement, and I turned all of my last little bit of paraphernalia and everything over to her husband as I cried.
Yeah.
And I spent the next few days detoxing in their basement for real.
Yeah.
And then they got me into a place called The Haven.
Yes.
The Haven.
Shout out to The Haven. I love The Haven. I've actually had the opportunity to speak there a few times. And they're great people, great place who are really trying to make a difference for people. So
yeah, it was, I can't say it was a good experience the first couple of months.
I'm sure it wasn't.
But, somewhere along the line in there, I started to get a little spark of hope. I would say that probably, mind you, because I'm coming off of methadone, which is a really long withdrawal.
Yep.
And I had been on a really high dose. So between the methadone, the heroin, the meth, which isn't as much of a physical withdrawal, but and the benzos, my withdrawal was really long. I withdrew for probably about the first 40 days that I was in rehab.
Wow.
So didn't sleep a wink for over 3 weeks. It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, listening to other people's stories, seeing other people make changes, looking at people and thinking, gosh, I can't even imagine you ever being a drug addict, and then hearing their stories and where they are today, it sparked that little bit of hope that I had wanted so bad for the years before.
Wow.
And just this little tiny flame of like, well, maybe, just maybe, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Wow. I don't know.
Wow. That's amazing.
So,
So how long did you end up staying at the Haven?
I was in the Haven for about 98 days.
Okay.
I say about, like who was counting? I was counting.
Yeah. You were probably marking it on the wall. There's one more day.
Well, and the funny thing is like the whole time I was in there, I didn't even unpack because I was convinced they were going to kick me out. I really was convinced they were going to kick me out at some point, Just
another place that's going to reject you.
And during most of my stay there, I had a really difficult time making friends and things like that. Little did I know that a lot of that was my behavior.
Right.
I thought I was just so charming, and I thought, what are you
what's
talking
wrong with me?
about?
What's the deal here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? It was wonderful that in hindsight that they were so hard on me.
Yeah.
because I've seen other people that they weren't very hard on, that they kind of gave the easy ride to, that have not made it, and that have struggled continuously, or that have actually passed away. Because I went through the house with about 20 people, probably more that came and went as well, but there were about a solid 20 of us, and a quarter of them have passed away.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's scary. But reality.
Yeah, it is reality.
It's
and they told us while they were in there,
Yeah.
they had obituaries on the side of the fridge of all Havenites that had since passed away.
Since passed,
And I mean, it was a lot of obituaries on there, and they said, you know what? Some of you will be on here. And you know, that hit me. Like, I don't want that to be my legacy for my kids.
Yeah.
I did not want to die a drug addict, and I did not want to commit suicide either, because of the fact that I felt like forever, anytime my kids are ever asked about their mom, that is what they will say. My mom died because she was a drug addict. My mom killed herself. She was a drug addict.
Wow.
And I didn't want that to be all they thought of me.
That's heavy. Heavy. Wow. So heavy. Wow. So you make it through the Haven 98 days plus, and at this point, do you feel like you're on that road of moving forward and you know, staying clean up to this point? We mentioned at the very beginning, you've almost got 7 years, which is amazing.
Yeah, thank you
so that's
much.
so freaking cool. Again, looking at you, anyone sitting here would look at you and go, "That you were a drug addict?" You know, kind of like what you were doing with other people. Like, how you were?
Yeah.
How the heck
I'm
that
so
happened?
glad that people think that today, honestly.
Yeah, well, it's because you've obviously turned your life around, and I think that's the most amazing part of this thing is how you did that. Yeah. You know, obviously you had people helping you and trying to get you into places, obviously,
right.
Your family.
Well, my parents basically said, this is your one shot. If this doesn't work for you, you're on your own, little girl. Ooh. And I knew that they were serious. With as serious as they had been about not letting me come to their house, if I didn't make this work, I was going to be out on the street in a place that I don't know, with no money, no belongings. And what were my choices going to be? Like, to sell myself, I guess, maybe. But then what kind of a life am I getting into? So I just held on, you know, by my fingertips, by my fingernails for that first little while. And then when that spark of hope started coming, I started actually being able to look introspectively and see that the problem was me. Yeah. Not that the problem was everybody else. And I started to be able to see what behaviors in me were undesirable that I needed to change. Yeah. And so when I was first there, my only goal was to prove that I could stay clean for 90 days. My only goal was just to, honestly, and then I didn't have any plans after that. Yeah, like, now what? I didn't have any plans after that. Like I thought, okay, I need to prove that I can stay clean for 90 days, and then what? Go back to Mesa, Arizona, to the same motel room and the same boyfriend that I was using with before, and like, stay clean. Yeah. You know, how am I going to do that? So somewhere along the line, the option of this female sober living house that is just a couple of streets down from the Haven was brought up as an option. And at first I thought, no way could I do that. I am not going to live with a bunch of female drug addicts. And this is going to be crazy. Yeah, exactly. And somewhere along the line, I decided that was my only choice, and that I was going to make it work. Yeah. And because they were so hard on me in the Haven, and, you know, pretty much every time I opened my mouth, they would say, shut the fuck up and listen. Shut the fuck up and listen. Yeah. Sorry about my language, but that's exactly what they would say to me. And I thought, oh, you're so rude. You're so mean. You won't even let me explain myself. Well, little did I realize that all of my explanations were just excuses. Yeah. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted me to listen. As long as I was talking, I wasn't listening. Yeah, right. And so because they were hard on me, and they told me, we know exactly who you are. We know that you're going to go out there and this sounds so mean too, but they were probably right. And I'm glad that they told me this the way that they did. They said, you're going to go out in the recovery community and you're going to sleep your way through the recovery community, trying to find yourself your next victim, or your next person that you're going to get into a toxic relationship with and use with, and all that kind of stuff. Find your validation. And I thought, how dare you? You know? But then I looked at my history and went, oh yeah, Yeah.
How dare
You know
you tell me
what?
the truth?
I know. Exactly.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but nothing
yeah.
made me more determined at
Sure.
that time to prove them wrong.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I thought, you know what? For the first time,
I love it.
I am in a place where nobody knows me. Nobody knows my history. You know, nobody knows anybody that I know.
Yeah.
And I can be whoever I want to be
Yeah.
going forward.
Wow.
So I can either go out there and create a reputation for myself in the
Yes.
community,
Yep.
or I can go out there and build some character for myself in this
Yes.
community.
Love that.
And that's what I chose to do. I decided to, for the first time ever, align myself with the people that I admired, the people that were doing it right, the people that had the lives that
Yeah.
were appealing to me, the ones that had integrity. I decided to align myself with them, to befriend them, to get into their inner circle, and basically copy the way that they
Yeah.
were living life
Yeah.
until I started becoming that myself. Because before, I had always aligned myself with the people that were in the gray area, that didn't really want to try, that found their way around rules, that
Yeah.
helped each other be less than
Yeah.
instead of helping
Wow.
each other be more than.
More than. Wow. I
So-
love that.
So I lived in sober living. A lot of the women were in and out of there as quickly as they could be,
Sure.
and then they would fall flat on their faces.
Yeah.
Well, I looked at this as an opportunity for me to live in a safety bubble
Yep. Yeah.
where I was being held accountable, where I had certain expectations of me. I had to drug test at least once a week, if not twice a week, randomly. I had to be holding down a full-time job.
Yeah.
I had to pay all of my own bills and things like that. And I had to go to, I think in the beginning it was like 6 meetings a week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then over time it became like 4 meetings a week and
Sure.
whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's what I did. I basically just kept my head down and
It's amazing.
just did the next right thing. And all of those cliches that you hear in the recovery community of like, you
Yeah.
know, do the next right thing.
Do the next right
You know, keep it
thing.
simple, stupid,
Yeah.
and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Like that just resonated with me as, you know, that was the way that I could keep it simple,
Yeah.
was to just go and do all the things that I needed to do and stay in my lane and keep my side of the
Yeah.
street clean and not worry about what everybody else was doing, but worry about what I was doing,
Yeah.
you know,
Dang.
and,
Yeah. That's amazing.
and yeah, so the next 16 months I spent living in sober living. I lived there basically as long as I could,
Yeah.
in sober living and
And we're
until I
doing it
was-
right.
And I was doing it right.
Yeah. And again, I
was
know
doing
you
it
weren't
right.
perfect because no one is.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is you made a decision.
I did.
If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to, like, I loved what you said. I'm not going to go create a reputation because we
Yeah.
usually get reputation from doing the
Yeah.
wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go build and create character by doing the right thing.
Right.
I love
Right.
that. And for those listening, that is a huge decision for all of us. Do you want a
Absolutely.
reputation or do you
Mhm.
want character?
Mhm.
So I really love that
Yeah.
it's just, you made that decision saying, you know, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it the right
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and I started to understand that having respect was more important than getting attention,
Yeah.
you know, and before that, I think I had always been an attention seeker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get that
and-
validation. It feels good.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Even if
sure.
I wasn't interested in a certain man, apparently, you know, it was brought to my attention again that my body language, my eye contact, the way that I would talk with men, it was for my own validation. I wasn't interested in them, but I
Yeah.
was giving off the impression
Yeah.
that I was, and that was really just to feed my own ego.
Yeah.
So that was
Totally.
brought to my attention, and I started changing that kind of behavior and being much more aware of
Yeah.
that kind of behavior.
Wow.
That was imperative for me. So yeah, so I did fully immerse myself in the recovery community in Salt Lake, which is really good, strong
Yes.
recovery
Yeah.
community.
We have a great community out there that are doing a lot of great things for people and
Mhm.
themselves. It's wonderful to watch.
Absolutely. And learning how to have fun
Yeah.
again in
Yeah.
sobriety
Yeah.
was a whole new thing, you
Yeah.
know, like, and for the first time in my life, I'm kind of on my own,
Yeah.
being totally self-reliant, you know, working hard, paying all of my own bills, working hard to get not only, okay, so I didn't have a driver's license or any ID of any any sort. I didn't have a birth certificate. I didn't have a social security card. I didn't have anything. So, and it was really hard to get because of across state lines, you know, all that kind of stuff, getting the proper documentation when you have nothing.
Yeah.
To start getting the proper documentation was difficult. Luckily, I ended up getting myself a job at a restaurant called Ruby River Steakhouse in downtown Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
It was within walking distance of my sober living house. And when I walked in there, I basically told the manager that was interviewing me, I said, look, I just got out of rehab. I've got 98 days clean. I've got to get a job. I'm living in sober living. I haven't had a job now for over 4 years, and I have no identification. Please give me a chance.
Please.
And he did.
Wow.
And he did. He said, okay, I'm going to give you a shot, and you have the next couple of months to get all your ducks in a row and get your identification and all that kind of stuff, but I'm going to give you a shot. And I'm actually still there at that same restaurant today. Wow.
That is amazing.
I know.
That is so cool. Seriously, that is so cool. Chokes me up, honestly. It's amazing. And like we said, coming up on 7 years clean. Yeah. It's been a few years. Back in 2017 is when you met Dave.
Yes.
You know, your husband today.
Yes.
Who is the executive director of the Other Side Academy. And you both live on campus now.
We do.
Together, obviously.
We do.
So you're constantly revolving around that recovery community, which is amazing, by the way. And
it's second to none. I mean, it's something nobody would even understand unless you go there.
I'll tell you, I say this all the time, and I know I'm only there every now and then when I speak, but the moment I step my foot on that property, there's something about it. There's a feeling there that is like, it's palpable. You can feel it. It's amazing. Yes. And the people there and the energy in the room. And again, there's a bunch of people there who have blown up their lives, who are doing what you were doing, building character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing the next right thing and doing that again and again and again. Right?
Yes. And they have that peer accountability component that is so incredible there, you know, where they're called in the moment on their behaviors, you know, in real time, so they can recognize that. And, you know, I've thought, man, they really get a chance to grow in a way that most people don't. When you kind of have to do it on your own, and you don't have other people taking you by the hand and walking step by step. I mean, I always say that people that get to go to TOSA hit the lottery of life transformation.
Amen to that.
You know?
Amen to that. I feel the exact same way. We'll even send people from Wasatch, where I'm at, down there, because we'll go, you know what, you need way more work. Yeah. This is the place you need to go to.
Absolutely.
So we refer people there all the time. And I agree with you. Jackpot when you go there.
Absolutely.
You hit the freaking jackpot. And to be able to rub shoulders with Dave and yourself and everyone down there, that's such an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So here's my question, to kind of maybe wrap this all together. And I like to ask this question. If there's someone listening to your voice right now who's in that hopeless state, they're feeling dark, they're lonely, they're stuck, what would you tell that one person right now who's listening to you?
One, I've been where you are. And being stuck is a really scary feeling, you know? Yeah. But you're not. You're not stuck. I definitely felt like I was, and I'm sure that whoever's listening feels like they are, but there is help out there. And even just getting involved in support groups of some sort, or recovery communities, you know, where you can find someone that has found that hope and has found the tools that have helped them, and you can latch on to that. You too can make changes in your life. Yeah. None of us are stuck where we are. If really just the desire to be unstuck is enough. Yeah. Honestly.
Sure.
If you don't have that desire, well, then you have a few more steps to find.
You're not fully at rock bottom.
But you have to want it. Yeah. You have to really want it, and you have to want to change your life more than you want to get high.
Wow. Ooh. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Seriously, that is great advice. And yeah, well said. I won't even add to that because I think that's perfect. You know, if there's someone that wants to reach out to you and maybe ask you a question, or if you're comfortable with that, is,
absolutely.
you know, or if they want to know more about you or even know more about what you and Dave do with the Other Side Academy and all that fun stuff, what would be the best way for someone to do that?
Probably I have a Facebook under Mandi Durocher.
Okay.
MandiDurocher.
Yeah.
Send me a friend request, or I would be happy to give my phone number out for those that maybe want to listen. I don't know how that works.
It's up to you. I don't know if you want to do that.
How about if I give out my husband's phone number?
Yeah, we'll give Dave's number.
No, I would be fine with
Sure.
people
Okay.
emailing me.
Okay, yeah. What's your email? Let's do that.
Yeah, my email is davandi2018@gmail.com. That's DAVANDI. There's no E in the Dave. DAVANDI2018@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Yeah. Can I share another little cute note with you?
Yeah, please.
When I was living in my sober living house, and I walked to and from work for the first year and a half because I didn't have a driver's license and stuff like that, and I still needed to work to be able to get my license reinstated, and I didn't have a car and all that. I walked to and from work every single day, and I walked past the Other Side Academy.
Really?
And I walked past the building that I now live in.
No way.
And every day, as time went on, every day those walks for me became walks of gratitude. So I would always tell myself, too, that I can't be depressed and I can't be unhappy if I'm in a state of gratitude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So these walks, I would find myself just being grateful for that tree and grateful for the beauty that surrounds me and grateful for the life that I now get to live. Grateful that I get to walk to work.
Yeah.
And grateful that I get to rebuild my life. And all of these things, you know. But I can also remember walking past Tosa and seeing the mansion.
No way.
And I could see through the windows and I could see their promises and their beliefs.
Yeah.
And I could see, and I thought, oh, that's some kind of a treatment center. I bet they do meetings there. I should go there, you know?
Right, yeah.
And, you know, that I can remember thinking that, and I can remember walking past the building that I now live in and being super drawn to it.
Yeah.
I didn't know why at the time, but being
Sure.
super drawn to it and thinking I loved the doors, and I wondered what it looked like inside, and I wondered what people's lives were like in there. And I kind of used that as my, like, I thought, okay, if I just keep doing this next right thing every day and I just keep on this path and I don't give in to anything that's momentary pleasure and I stay honest and, you know, live integrity, what will my life be like in 5 years? Can I have a life like these people here? Can I have a life like that person over there?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
if I just stay the course and I just keep doing what I'm, you know, 5 years seems like so long.
Yeah.
But what could my life be like in 5 years? And I can remember just thinking that in the beginning, like, it's so far away. But really, my life started getting really good at about 2 years, which 2 years is not that long.
That's not long considering how long you've been going through this.
And I mean, I would say that it was even good within that 2 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Comparatively to how I'd been living before.
Yeah.
But like, it started really just kind of getting good. And having Dave in my life, we didn't really touch on that, but him coming into my life in 2017, right when I'd gotten custody back of my youngest daughter and was finishing raising her, it was such a wonderful strength and partnership to be in this really healthy relationship of two people that are helping each other build each other to be better people than getting, you know, than all of the relationships I'd been in before. That
the exact opposite.
Exact opposite.
Man.
So it was wonderful to parent her with him and allow her to have this really wonderful, strong, loving father figure that was, you know, a good example in her life those last few years of raising her, and that was really a special blessing and experience in our life to finish doing that. So
well, I was blessed to be at your guys' wedding one of the best weddings I think I've ever been to in my entire life. Not just because I knew the both of you and just I loved both of you guys and what you do, but just all the Other Side Academy people there, and Dave coming up in his Harley. And
it was pretty special.
I mean, it was like this is how they all should be right here, and just
Yes.
and the words that were spoken by Joseph Granny, who were unbelievable. Matter of fact, I asked him, "Can I get a copy of what you said at their wedding?" I've got it right here,
I love it,
and I will share
it
it from time to time with the clients here, like when he talked about grace and choice.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
I was like, what the heck
I
is
know.
this? This is amazing.
I know.
So anyway, I know we could talk for 4 more hours. There's so much more. We could talk about just you and Dave for another couple. I would love to.
We have
I
the
would
most
love to do
incredible
that.
life.
I know. I would love to do that. Maybe we need. It'd be cool to bring you both on.
You know what? That would be so
Let's
fun.
do that.
I would love
I'm
that.
dead
I was
serious.
really nervous and worried about this, and I know that I did stumble over and get lost, in my words a few times.
No.
But that would be really fun.
You
to
did
come on together and
fantastic. You
talk.
didn't stumble.
Yeah.
I don't
okay.
know.
Well,
No,
good.
I stumbled in the blah, blah, blah. But no, you did great. But yeah, I think we should do that. I think that would be a good contrast to have you both on. So we'll make that happen. But yeah, Mandi, you're an amazing person. You're a miracle. Like truly you are. And I don't mean that lightly. Like that you're even alive is a miracle. And
I
to
believe
see that
that.
you've
I
turned it
believe
around,
that
I
too.
know you do. And
Yeah.
just to see you turn it around, and again, you have a beautiful light about you.
Thank you.
And I think most people who don't know your background will be like, you were a drug addict? They've got to be shocked.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show how dangerous and how deceptive
Absolutely.
and how bad addiction
And it's
becomes.
not above. None of us
No
are.
one's
None of us
above
are
it.
above it. Yeah.
Nope,
Exactly.
never. So I just can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I love your story. I love
you.
the way you carry yourself. You know how much what I think of Dave, but it makes me just, I love you guys so much. I hope you know that.
Absolutely. And Dave loves you so much. I mean, he
Yeah.
can't say enough good stuff about you.
That's
And I'm
good.
just glad to finally be getting to know you on a more
Yeah,
personal
we're getting to know
basis,
each other a little bit better, and I'm glad we're doing this, and I'm glad it's your story today, and it was beautiful.
Thank you.
It's hard to hear some of
Let's definitely
it.
do a part 2 or
Yep.
something like that, because I didn't really get into the last 7 years of my life, which have been the best years of my entire life.
No, we definitely need to get there and
it's
do that.
really- Yeah.
So
I feel
yeah, we
super
will do
blessed.
that. I promise. So
Thank you.
thank you, and listeners. I told you today was going to be another amazing episode. Mandi's amazing. Reach out to her. I'll put her email and stuff in the show notes, so you'll be able to just hit her up directly. If you have any questions, you can ask me. As always, I tell you, if you have someone in your life who's struggling and you don't know how to talk to him, you're afraid to even talk to him, send him a link to this episode and let him listen to Mandi's story, and it will give you a talking point. You reach out to him. Did you listen to her story? And it'll open up a dialogue, and you can get him some help. And there's a lot of programs out there. I will help you. Mandi will help you. The Other Side Academy is there to help you. Whatever we can do to help you. So thank you for supporting this. And again, thank you to my sponsors. And one last thank you to Mandi. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you.